international attention: the death of a beached whale in Manzanilla Island.
It is known that it can affect the balance of creatures. It can permanently damage their ability to balance. For example, octopuses no longer can hold themselves upright. We don't know how many fish are deaf or perhaps even infertile. I mean, they're only measuring the creatures that have been killed directly by it. They don't know what the non-lethal impacts of these kinds of surveys are.
Sound travels really well in water, and as a result there are many marine species that have come to use sound as their main form of communication. And so seismic surveys that produce these really high impact and low frequency sounds can have impacts on species that use the same frequencies for communication. You know, these blasts produce shock waves in the water column, and so what happens is internal organs start to vibrate, and eventually tissues can burst, and you can get into a big blast, such as a seismic gun, can change the auditory threshold of species. And so what it means is that they don't hear as well. And certainly there's been studies to show that humpback whales, for example, have been entangled more in nets because their hearing has suffered as a result of these blasts. So there are a wide variety of effects that seismic blasts could have on marine wildlife. I mean, the most obvious one are the physical effects, but there are a lot of behavioral impacts too. So for example, you might find that certain species will avoid an area completely if there are regular seismic activities in the area. So this essentially takes them away from their preferred habitats and takes them to places that might be suboptimal for their survival.
FFOS is a public organization working for the public interest. A year ago, after 15 years of lobbying, we brought a judicial review legal action in the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago, where we are simply requesting that environmental impact assessments, detailed studies that include consultation and an airing of public opinion, and where we, the fisher folk, would be allowed to state our case in a public forum where it could be considered. That's all we asked, that's all we went to court for.
I'm 83 years. I've been fishing for 72 years, and it's the hardest period in my life is right now because seismic surveying have been destroyed all the fish in the octopus.
This is my life here. This is all I know. Seismic bombing is destroying our life. We're not catching anything right now in the sea.
BP has spent here on a nightly basis probably upwards of $100,000 a night, probably upwards of $20 million over the past 2 months running this ad and brainwashing our population, especially our High Court, to say that seismic surveys are just a way of taking a picture.
Seismic data is the key tool we as geoscientists use to find oil and gas. And it's really just a picture.
This matter is before the court, it's sub judice. How come this company is allowed to be putting these ads out?
While the matter is before the court, BP is literally bullying our population by presenting this high-profile advertisement, totally brainwashing all of our citizens. We invite you to the High Court judgment on January 18th, 2016 at the Hall of Justice, Port of Spain, to determine whether seismic surveys in Trinidad and Tobago will now require an environmental impact assessment, which is simply a data gathering tool to accurately measure and mitigate the devastating impact on our vulnerable communities. The oil and gas companies know the negative effects and impacts of seismic bombing, but knowingly mislead our vulnerable, often academically limited rural communities that it is only just a picture. The Alicia Gargi BP story is a shameful, disgraceful lie. Suriname, Guyana, and other Caribbean territories are being misled by these bullies and touts, and our shared fishery is dying. No, BP, no. No.